everybody, it's JT Sports. I'm at you guys with another video. This video I'm here with my New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks. NFL Week 3 preview and prediction. Going to be previewing this matchup and giving my prediction for who will win this game. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. So, the New Orleans Saints going into this game, coming off of a loss versus the Los Angeles Rams. And the Seattle Seahawks are coming off of a win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. Now, New Orleans Saints, they are going to be without their star quarterback, Drew Brees, who is going to be missing a couple of weeks due to having a thumb injury. So, backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater will be taking over at the helm at the quarterback position for the New Orleans Saints for the next couple of weeks until Drew Brees is able to return. And the Seattle Seahawks are looking very impressive on both sides of the ball, coming off of a very solid win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, although their starting quarterback in Big Ben Roethlisberger ended up going down and he's going to be out for the rest of the season, the Seattle Seahawks look very good on the offensive side of the ball. But I mean, so far this season, who hasn't looked good on the offensive side of the ball going against that Pittsburgh Steelers secondary? So, I mean, the New Orleans Saints, although they had Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is Drew Brees. He's like a knockoff version of Drew Brees. He's similar, but he's like you ever went to Walmart and you want to buy the cereal, like say for example you wanted to buy Fruit Loops cereal at Walmart, but you didn't have enough money to buy the Fruit Loops cereal at Walmart, so you just settled on the Great Value brand Fruit Loops at Walmart. So that's what Teddy Bridgewater is. He's a Great Value brand Drew Brees. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's not going to lose you games, but he's also a quarterback who's not going to win you a lot of games. Now, he's able to win you a couple of games, but he's not a quarterback who can consistently carry the team to wins on a week in and week out basis. So, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is a very solid replacement. I mean, after all, New Orleans kept him there for a reason. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be able to do a very solid job and taking over for Drew Brees until he's able to fully heal from that thumb injury that he has. Now, Seattle, I mean, this offense looks very explosive. I mean, DK Metcalf has looked very good so far the first couple of weeks. The offensive line has been... And the offensive line has had its moments. I mean, they gave up a couple of sacks in that first half against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but nearing the end of the game in the second half, they ended up cleaning it up, and the offensive line played a lot better. So the Seattle Seahawks, I mean, you got Tyler Lockett, you got DK Metcalf. To me, this offense looks very explosive. I think this is the most explosive that I've seen the Seattle Seahawks offense has been in the last couple of seasons. I mean, they can score touchdowns, I mean, nearly calling any play with guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, who are big play wide receivers who can go for about 40, 60-yard touchdowns in the blink of an eye. So, I mean, this Seattle Seahawks offense is very explosive. Now, something that I'm going to be keeping tabs on this game is looking at who's going to end up leading the Seattle Seahawks and carries this game. Now, Chris Carson ended up getting benched. Well, he didn't really get benched, but he fumbled a couple of times, and that ended up leading to Rashard Penny, who ended up scoring a nice, impressive-looking touchdown, and he ended up getting a little bit more work than Chris Carson, in my opinion, nearing the end of the game in the second half, due to Chris Carson fumbling the ball. So it's going to be interesting watching how that whole half-ass situation ends up working out for the Seattle Seahawks. Is Rashard Penny going to end up taking over and running away with it, with that number one halfback spot? Or is Chris Carson going to be able to get back into it? Because Chris Carson didn't really have a very good performance versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, as he did have a costly fumble, and Rashard Penny ended up taking over for a majority of the snaps after that fumble by Chris Carson. So that's going to be something else to keep my tabs on, and for you guys to keep your tabs on in this game as well. So, looking at my keys to victory, what each of these teams is doing, able to have a chance to win in this game. For the New Orleans Saints, they have to get pressure on Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, this offensive line, it isn't great, but it isn't bad neither. But you're still going to be able to get a good amount of pressure and a good amount of hits on Russell Wilson, like we saw in that Pittsburgh Steelers game early on in the first half. TJ Watt and those boys for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line were able to get constant pressure on Russell Wilson. They were able to get him down for a couple of times as well. So if you're the Seattle Seahawks and you're the New Orleans Saints, if you're the New Orleans Saints, man, you're going to have to be able to get those guys like Marcus Davenport going. I think Marcus Davenport is going to have a very good game, and the New Orleans Saints are looking to win this game, because he's a guy who they traded up the fan to get this guy, and a couple of years ago, and I forgot what his draft it was that they drafted Marcus Davenport in, but they traded up the fan to get Marcus Davenport. So I mean, this is a guy who has to show up in this game, and the New Orleans Saints want to have a good chance of winning this game, because Marcus Davenport, man, they trade up a lot to get this guy, and this is the game. If Marcus Davenport wants to have a coming out party and put the league on notice, this would be the perfect game to do that. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, they don't have a great offensive line, but the offensive line isn't bad. It's pretty average. So, I mean, he's going to have a good opportunity of being able to get pressure and getting sacks and getting good stats on Russell Wilson in this game. But if the New Orleans Saints want to win this game, they're going to have to be able to get pressure on Russell Wilson. And the next thing the New Orleans Saints need to be able to do to win this game, they have to get the ball to Alvin Kamara. He is their best playmaker that they have, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the football. Many people can argue and say Michael Thomas, but I mean, Alvin Kamara to me is just the best player on this New Orleans Saints offense. And without Drew Brees not going to be at the helm, they're probably going to run the ball a lot more than what they've had been running the previous couple of weeks. So I'm expecting Alvin Kamara to have a lot of touches in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if he ends up having, I won't say 30 touches is what I'm expecting out of Alvin Kamara. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but I mean, this is a guy in Teddy Bridgewater. He's good when you're able to have the run game going. And so you're going to want to give Alvin Kamara the ball, running the football, and you're also going to want to get him involved in a couple of screenplays, also getting him involved in the passing game as well, if that's lining him out wide or throwing screenplays or throwing him the ball in the backfield. But Alvin Kamara is at least going to have 30 touches, in my opinion, and New Orleans is going to be able to win this game. Now, I know that they're going to have Michael Thomas as well on the outside, but I mean, with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, I mean, he's not bad. He's a very solid replacement, but I just think that New Orleans Saints are probably going to run the ball a little bit more with Teddy Bridgewater at that quarterback position. And the last thing that the New Orleans Saints need to be able to do to win this game, they have to limit the big pass plays in that secondary. Now, you got Marshawn Lattimore, you got Marcus Williams, you got a lot of guys in that secondary for the New Orleans Saints that have to be able to show up in this game, because this Seattle Seahawks offense, like I talked about early on at the start of this video, is very explosive. And this has probably been the most explosive Seattle Seahawks offense I've seen in a very long time, in a couple of seasons now. And you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett. Both of those guys can end up having big plays in the secondary if you don't keep tabs on them. So, I mean, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you definitely want to limit the big passing plays that the Seattle Seahawks have in this game, because they can have some explosive plays. I mean, we saw DK Metcalf had a big play last week versus Pittsburgh. It was like a big touchdown pass. Tyler Lockett is also a guy who you don't want to underestimate as well. He's a guy who can have big plays in the passing game as well. So you kind of want to keep everything in front of you if you're this New Orleans Saints secondary and you want to limit the big plays. You don't want none of these wide receivers getting behind any of your corners or any of your safeties. And for the Seattle Seahawks, for them to win this game, they have to be able to protect Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has got sacked a lot the last couple of weeks, although the Seattle Seahawks offensive line played a lot better in the second half of that game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still had to be able to do a better job of protecting Russell Wilson. Like I said earlier, those New Orleans Saints pass rushers, they're going to have to be able to have a big impact for the New Orleans Saints. They want to be able to win this game. In Seattle, they're going to have to be able to keep Russell Wilson upright if they want to be able to win this game. And the last thing that Seattle needs to do in able to win this game, you got to be able to stop Alvin Kamara. He's probably the guy who the New Orleans Saints are probably game planning for around the offense. They want to give Alvin Kamara the ball in his hands, because when Alvin Kamara has the ball in his hands, he's just like a magician. He just does a lot of good things when he has the ball in his hands. So if you're the Seattle Seahawks, you got a pretty good group of linebackers. Bobby Wagner is going to be very important in this game, and being able to keep tabs on the guy like Alvin Kamara and things like that, because Bobby Wagner, he's a good tackler. He's also very good in coverage as well. So I expect him to have a very big role in trying to contain Alvin Kamara in this game. So the team that I'm going with to win this game, this was a very tough decision for me, but I'm going to end up going with the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. This game is on the road for the New Orleans Saints, and I mean, so far, I think it's still going to take them a couple of weeks for their offense to start getting clicking with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm. And I just think the Seattle Seahawks playing at home might be a little bit of the difference. And also, I think that Seattle has a lot of momentum, and New Orleans, they might not be where they should be mentally since their star quarterback, Drew Brees, got injured. So I just think that the Seattle Seahawks end up winning this game. New Orleans could end up winning this game as well. To a lot of people, this might be a little bit of an upset for me to choose the Seattle Seahawks over the New Orleans Saints. But I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints to lose this game. I just think Seattle, they're the more hot team right now. New Orleans, they're coming off of a deflating loss versus the LA Rams, which they got dominated in. So I just think Seattle has all the momentum, and this game is going to be at Seattle as well, which is a very tough place to get a win in. So I'm going to go with Seattle to win this game. I think Seattle wins this game. 21-17 is my final score prediction for this game. So let me know who you guys think is going to end up winning this game down in the comment section down below. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and college football videos. And thanks for watching.